Crime Curious is a true crime podcast that takes an in-depth look into real cases through the lens of a trained investigator and former prosecutor turned judge.
If you are sensitive to expletives, anatomical descriptions, and accurate descriptions of crime scenes, this podcast may not be suitable for you.
Welcome to Crime Curious. I'm Charnell.
I'm Megan.
And Brain Bath Jason.
Brain Bath Jason's here,
Hello.
shaking the gree.
Nothing to shake. That's all right. All my stuff doesn't make noise.
Nothing to shake. You know what? It's a general audience episode. I'm going to let that one go.
He squeaked. We're good.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, welcome to the show, friends. And now
You
that
almost made me hurt myself.
Sorry
I was
about
taking
that.
a drink of hot coffee and I was like, do I snort? Do I spit? What do I do?
I have
Don't ever spit.
I swallowed the coffee.
She
Jason.
did. I have an interesting case for us today, but it is not a typical true crime case.
Okay.
Okay. It's a bit of a history lesson, but it is a fascinating. This is more like if we just did an episode on like oddities, weird and odd shit in the world.
We do really good with that kind of stuff.
That's what today is.
Weird and odd shit throughout the world.
Weird and odd shit that
I majored in it.
there is attempted, killing in this case.
Okay,
100%.
So it's still crimey.
It has a crimey undertone, but it's actually a war case. I'm going to tell you a true story from the American Civil War today.
We're going way back.
You're going to learn a lot. It's fascinating. So buckle up, Buttercup. Let's go. Okay. Oh, I like that you can do the sound effects.
Thank you.
It's really helpful on a podcast show.
It's just like the first episode of Police Academy right over here.
Yes, it is.
Just like it.
And before we get started, though, and I will link this in the show notes, but I have to give all of the credit for today's research to one man. And did everyone just hear Megan put down her coffee mug with vigor on the table?
Because I burned myself
Did
on
you?
the side of it. It conducts a lot of heat.
It's hot. Megan needed coffee to get through our episodes
I did.
today. She's sleepy. But anyway, we need to give complete credit to the author of this research. And he actually wrote a whole publication called Center Shot. It's Center Shot, Private Jacob Miller of the 9th Indiana Volume Infantry in Civil War News. And it was published in historicalpublicationsllc.com. So all credit, the author is Michael L. Kelly. Okay, for his piece published in Historical Publications out of Blue Ridge, Georgia. I want to tell you a little bit about the author because he has quite a history. He's a retired, Michael Kelly is a retired veteran, and he served in the UH-1B Huey Door Gunner Crew Chief in 1966 with the 1st Cavalry Division Air Mobile.
Okay.
Mr. Kelly served 7 years active duty and 15 years in the U.S. Army Reserve Active Troop Program and retired as a battalion staff training NCO from the 3rd Battalion, 18th Infantry, 187th Infantry Brigade. Just wanted to give him all the kudos that he deserves. He also has a bachelor's degree in history from Boston State College.
Oh,
Nice.
all right.
Yep. So, and he also worked at the Defense Logistics Agency, DPRO, and retired from there as well. Lots and lots of...
Lots of credentials.
Yes, lots of credentials, lots of valid history here to be able to write this piece. And so I just wanted to take this research and create a really unique episode for us to be able to learn. And for all of our listeners outside of the United States, which we do have a lot of, I'm going to give you a little bit of an explanation for the backdrop of today's historical survival case. This is an American Civil War story, which the American Civil War happened from April 12th, 1861 to May 26th, 1865. And it is also known by other names, but it is a civil war that happened in the United States between the Union, known as the North, and the Confederacy, known as the South. The central conflict leading to the war was a dispute over whether slavery should be permitted to expand into the Western territories, leading to more slave states or be prohibited from doing so, which many believed would place slavery on a course of ultimate extinction, which it did, and other civil rights issues. So that was an abridged version, of course, but I just wanted everyone to be able to follow along with a little bit of understanding, just in case they did not know, because I got to tell you, I don't know about all the civil wars that have happened in other countries. I thought that might be helpful. Of the 24,430 wounded Union and Confederate soldiers who fought in the Battle of Chickamauga in Georgia, one veteran stands out as the most unusual survival of the bloody battle. Private Jacob Miller of Naperville, Illinois, was serving with the Company K 9th Indiana Volunteer Infantry, part of Major General William Rosecrans' Army of Cumberland, when he was shot in the head by a Confederate sniper of Major General Braxton Bragg's Army of Tennessee near Brock Field on the morning of September 19th, 1863. The bullet struck him between the eyes and lodged into his skull. According to historical information provided by Cass County Historical Society, Private Miller enlisted in Company K from Logansport, Indiana at the age of 23. So his name is Jacob Miller. He's 23 years old, and he enlists into the military.
And he's clearly in the Union because he's Indiana, and that is north of the Mason-Dixon line.
That's right. Yes. The 9th Indiana Regiment was mustered on April 25th, 1861. That means put together at LaPorte, Indiana for 3 months of active service, and it was commanded by Colonel Robert H. Milroy, who was commissioned on April 26th, 1861. The 9th saw action in West Virginia at Grafton, Philippi, Lauren Hill, and Corks Ford. And then they mustered out July 29th, 1861. So they had a successful 3-month tour through those areas. The 9th was recognized for its years of active service in August 1861 and saw action at the battles of Shiloh, Perryville, Stones River, Chickamauga, and participated in General Sherman's campaign across Georgia. Private Miller's combat service ended the day that he was shot in the head.
That would do it.
And left for dead.
I feel like there's a twist coming.
There has to be.
Yep.
He was the part where she said left for dead.
Then he was left for dead. And then he was able to tell his remarkable survival story, which was recorded at the time in the Daily News of Joliet, Illinois in June of 1911.
Civil War zombie.
Yeah.
Here's his picture.
Good God, man. There's a bullet hole right in between his eyes.
Sure is.
As an old man.
Sweet.
There's a hell of a... Girls like scars, sir, but dang.
Right? This actually is much worse.
Private Miller.
I thought my little chickenpox scar that's in the middle of between my eyeballs was bad.
Yeah, that's a hole.
It's a whole hole. It's a whole asshole. It's an orifice.
He has the site.
You could put your finger in it.
Oh,
you could stick an extra eyeball in there.
Yeah, it
That'd
actually
be cool.
does
Triclops.
look. It looks.
Triclops.
What would you guys say? At least half of the size of a human eye socket?
Yes.
It's bigger than a quarter.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, if you've ever seen a musket shot, they're not
right.
They're bigger than a marble.
Right, exactly. And it just there it is.
This man has the hardest human skull known to man.
It
just lodged right in the front of his skull, and his brain said, "No, thank you."
Is this where hard-headed comes from? You know that slang term that we describe people's personalities sometimes, like, oh, they're just really hard-headed.
If it didn't, you should say from now that you got Millard.
In case you had, yeah,
exactly.
You got Millard. You got right back up and live. You got Millard.
You got Millard. Mm-hmm. But yes, here is this photo of him. Look him up, Jacob Miller, and he's clearly very alive and very old at this point in time. After the war, he actually joined the Grand Army of the Republic, a veterans organization, much like today's American Legion, where he attended the encampments. His fellow war veterans nicknamed him Center Shot for the open bullet wound in his forehead. According to Miller, he said, quote, "I was in a semi-reclining position and raised up my elbow to take aim when I was hit by a rebel bullet, end quote. So he is in, I mean, if you can picture that, I think we've all seen the war movies.
He's in active combat.
Yeah.
Drawn back.
Yeah. The semi-reclining position. So he's sitting on his butt and he's leaning a bit back and drawing up to take aim when he was hit square between the eyes. I mean, it's just above his eyebrows.
Yeah, that was good aim.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He got sniped.
Well, yeah.
That's for sure. Go ahead.
No, I'm just like ballistically with a musket. That's really impressive.
It
like,
is.
It's not.
No, I agree. Like
or just really stupid lucky because that's.
I was just going to say, or it was an accident.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, however far away they were with a musket
the
rifle.
person who shot this probably had their eyes closed and was just like,
it's like, I think that's a person.
Shoot
it.
Right. His company commander, Captain McConnell, was standing behind him, and he thinks that the sniper was trying to actually shoot the captain.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So it was just really bad luck on Miller's part.
But he aimed too low and struck Jacob Miller instead because he was sitting, like he said, in the reclining position. When Company K fell back from that position in retreat, his comrades had given him up for dead. He went on to say, quote, "When I came to my senses after some time, after I found I was in the rear," picture this, he's in the rear of the Confederate line now. The enemy line has moved over his dead body.
Yeah.
What they thought was his dead body.
They're looking down and there's the enemy, the Union soldier with a gunshot wound in between his eyeballs. He's not getting back up.
Oh, so he comes to and he's like, well, oh my gosh, there's the end of the line there of the people
Stay laying down.
Right.
Stay laying down.
100%.
I'm just going to stay here a minute.
And he said, "So not to become a prisoner, I made up my mind to make an effort to get around their line and back on my own side. I got up with the help of my gun as a staff," so using it like a walking stick, "then went back some distance and then started parallel with the line of battle." So yeah, like he's essentially just walking behind them, parallel, so they won't notice him.
They were preoccupied.
They were.
Yeah.
They were moving forward.
They're moving forward, and maybe
the dead don't usually get up and sneak on behind you.
Well, and that's the other thing. This is what he said, because you make a good point. Even if someone did see them behind them, he said, "I suppose I was so covered with blood that those that I met did not notice that I was a Yank," end quote, meaning Yankee, meaning from the North. Yeah. He was so, they couldn't differentiate his uniform at that point in time. And since he's standing behind the line, not harming anyone, they're like, oh, he's one of us.
Just keep walking.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna live. Keep walking.
Yep. So Major General and Alexander P. Stewart's CSA division routed the Union brigades from the Brock Farm area, but did not have enough forces to pursue the Union troops. So Jacob Miller managed to stumble along, but on the way he ran into a Confederate soldier who was out front scouting the lines, and the rebel soldier actually took mercy on Jacob Miller's plight. He gave Miller a drink of water from his canteen and pointed in the direction of the Union line. Because like you had said, Megan, he's not seeing him as a threat. He's thinking at this point in time, this dude's going to die.
Go that way.
Yeah. He has go that way where they can find your body and send you back to your family.
Right.
Because here you are with this gaping hole in your brain, sir. Jacob Miller continued saying, quote, I was struck by an old by road. So he came across a road and followed it the best I could. As by this time my head was swelled so bad it shut my eyes.
Yeah.
And I could see to get along only by raising the lid of my right eye and look again, and so on until I ran afoul of something. So he's physically prying his own eye open to be able to see. And so he was saying, like, I would close it, then I would open it, and there goes it. And remember, this is written in how he spoke back then. So it is a little different than our vernacular today. But
yeah, it's correct.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He said, till I ran afoul of something, and then I would look again, and so on, until I came to the Lafayette Pike near the Kelly House, and I started towards the field hospital at the Springs. So he's starting to recognize some points of signposts, right?
And roads.
Here's the Kelly house. And I know that we have a hospital set up in this field over here, located at what they called, at Springs. And so he said, I at length got so badly exhausted, I had to lie down by the side of the road. At last, some bearers came and put me on their stretcher and carried me to the hospital and laid me on the ground in a tent. A hospital nurse came and put a wet bandage over my wound and around my head and gave me a canteen of water. You know what that nurse is probably thinking at this
I'll
point
just make you
in time,
comfortable.
too.
She
Right?
basically spit cleaned his wound and threw a bandage on it so he wouldn't continue bleeding all over, gave him some water and was like, we'll bury you later, sweet pea.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I mean, truly, they actually laid him on the ground.
Yeah.
She's
to triage.
She's triaging.
And
yes.
that is not typically a survivable wound. You're going to get triaged. He got the floor.
He did. Yeah,
That's where all the bodies are going to end up.
Yep.
Well, if he was shot anywhere else, they would have amputated it.
Can't amputate a head.
Right.
I met some people.
So she's like, let's just
stand
leave him
corrected,
here
actually.
for a
I met a
minute.
few people who probably better
Right.
off.
I've met some people that I think forget to use their head and act like it's been amputated.
You have a head injury, sir? Good thing you didn't use that anyway.
Yeah. I don't mean to say carries on, but he goes on to say, I don't know what time of day they examined my wound and decided to put me on the operating table, but I know it was sometime after dark. The surgeons examined my wound and decided it was best not to operate on me and gave me more pain pills, as they said I couldn't live very long. So the nurse took me right back into the tent and laid him on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah. Like they're not even going to extend.
He got some milk of the poppy and then put him back on the ground.
Yeah.
We can't take this out.
After he had walked himself how long? From behind enemy lines down a dang road.
He's clearly thinking,
holy crap.
He had to have been in agreement at some point, though. He's like, yeah, I'm going to die. It just isn't happening. I don't know what's going on.
Right, like, why am I not dead
I
yet?
got shot in the face.
Mm-hmm. And kind of like, this is unfair. Everybody else got to go quickly. And here I am, have to walk back from behind enemy lines, make it to the hospital, and then the nurses and surgeons won't even triage me to save my life. He said that he said, I slept some during the night. Some. I mean, that would have been a mercy to have been able to sleep all night, but not him.
Well, he does have a head injury.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then he wakes up like, fuck, am I still alive?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I must be. I'm in hell. I mean, this isn't, if I was in heaven, I would be much more comfortable than
Yeah.
this.
Would be a field.
He said the next morning was a Sunday. The doctors came around to make a list of the wounded and their company and regiments and said to send all the wounded to Chattanooga, that the ambulance would carry. And they told him, he said, they told me I was wounded too bad to be moved. And if the army fell back, those that were left there could afterwards be exchanged. So in other words, we aren't even going to put you in an ambulance. You're not even considered wounded.
You're just
to
dead.
us. You are considered
You're dead, and we're
Just
just
not
waiting
dead
for you to
yet.
catch
Yep.
up. I'm not dead yet. It's Monty Python.
Right.
It's like
I'm
the
not dead yet.
The way less funny Monty
is a flesh
Python is
wound.
happening. It is. That is exactly
It really is. It 100% is. They're just, at every single life-saving possible effort that could have been made for him, they were like, nah.
He was triaged right out of it.
He was.
Right out of all of the things.
It is actually the definition of the word triaging. It's just that he wouldn't die, which was what they were counting on. And
Not that they wanted him to die, just they probably never seen a gunshot wound between the middle of the eyes where someone seemed just fine.
how many of us really have?
No.
Like, I've heard of plenty of stories of someone surviving a gunshot wound to the head. Absolutely. But y'all, you got to understand, this is
Before modern
literally,
medicine.
Yes, it's the 1800s, and it is right in the middle of his forehead,
Center
just
shot.
above his eyebrows.
He's called this for a reason.
I
Center
mean,
shot.
Yep. He was determined, though, to not be taken as a prisoner. And so he decided as long as he could stand and drag one foot after the other, he's going to make his way to safety. He had an absolute will to live, obviously, here. So he had a nurse give him a canteen full of water, and he left the tent without being seen. because he didn't want to be left behind when the ambulances came and took all of those other wounded because as the army was falling back, right? The enemy is gonna come up on them.
I know. It's just incredulous though that he's making this much sense and having these conversations and clearly has a will to live, that someone's telling him still, no, we have to leave you here to die. And he's like, but you don't understand. I'm not dead yet.
Right, I'm not dead yet.
And I'm not planning on dying. Right. So can I hitch a ride in the buggy ambulance to Chattanooga, please?
Yes.
Please?
Right.
And they're like, no. And he's like, well, give me a canteen. I guess I'm going to follow the horses.
I'll just hoof it.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh. That is what he does. I mean, how much more does he need to prove that he's worth saving when he's like, as long as I can drag one foot in front of the other.
In my blood-soaked wool uniform.
Yes. Oh my God. We didn't even consider that, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not like he's in pajamas comfortable at all or being fed.
Nope.
I mean, I think it's a mercy to give up a canteen of water at this point in time.
Give me a canteen of water and some more of them morphine pills, please. The milk of the pulpy.
And he has his wherewithal enough to know, if I'm left here, the enemy will come up and they won't consider me dead. They will take me as prisoner.
Oh, yeah.
And that is worse than being alive and having to dredge myself instead of by ambulance to the nearest safety with a gaping hole in my head. But at this point, I think it's so swollen, it has stopped the bleeding, which possibly helped save his life. But it's still a miracle to me that he didn't die of infection.
Right. That's how most people died in the Civil War.
Yes.
Like, most deaths from the war were from infection.
Yeah.
Not just the injury or the gunshot.
Well, remember, you don't actually necessarily bleed that much with a gunshot wound to the head. We had a very specific case where there was a bullet wound. Well, there was a bullet wound entry, and there might have been a little bit of blood, but by the time they found him and his girlfriend, who had also died, it was a really weird case. You should listen to it, though. They couldn't see any evidence.
They didn't know he had
a
bullet wound in his head.
It was found later. And so that there was clearly an entry wound. And was there an exit wound in that case, or was the bullet lodged in his head?
It was lodged, yeah.
Yeah. And so this is one of those cases. But it's not one of those cases because you have a clear bullet wound. It's just stopped bleeding now. I'm telling you what, this is how weird Civil War stories regarding zombies and vampires started. It was stuff like this.
Because of what people saw.
You couldn't explain it. Yep. Can you imagine him walking down the road?
Right.
And you're like, oh
Zombie.
My God, that's where we are now.
They had a word for it back then.
Yeah. The undead.
The undead.
Yes. The undead, the refused to die.
The reanimated.
So here he is. He said he's got his canteen full of water. He leaves the tents without anyone noticing him because they've already rode him off. He gets behind some wagons near the road, and then he began to walk slowly away. His eyes are still swollen shut, so he still had to hold one eyelid open to see where he was going, and he just moved away from the sounds of artillery and musketry fire.
That's the way I would head as well.
I'm
away from the sounds.
Going until it gets quieter and quieter. So he goes on to say, quote, I worked my way along the road as best I could. At one time, I got off to the side of the road and bumped my head against a low-hanging limb. Could you freaking imagine, you guys?
That just adds insult to injury.
Does. At that point, I'm like, why? What have I done? Why did I deserve this?
Between the eyes, you hit a branch, and you literally look up and go, seriously?
100%. Was that funny to you?
What have I done?
Right.
Oh.
Is this my penance?
He said the shock toppled me over. I got up, took my bearings again, and went on as long as I could, not drag a foot, and then lay down beside the road to see if I could not rest so I could move. What he's saying is, as long as he was still walking, he had to keep moving. If he laid down to rest, he was afraid that he would die.
I would be as well.
Yeah.
And then he said when he realized that he was like getting slower and slower, then is when he would sit down, and he said he wouldn't wait long until he could hear like the ambulance train begin to pass him. And so now he knows the ambulance drivers saw him, wake him up, ask him if he's still alive. One of them stepped out and places him into an ambulance.
Okay, so he
Thank
does
you,
get put in.
sir. Yep. Once he was inside the ambulance, now he feels safe. He passes out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
His brain needed to heal.
Yeah.
It needs sleep.
Well, at this point, he knows he's going to at least get to a place where he's not going to be held hostage. He's either going to die
they're left on the side of the road or in a field.
Exactly. Yep. He's with a human that is the whole purpose is to take him someplace where they could either get him help or at least far enough away from enemy lines that he won't be taken hostage. So he lets himself succumb and pass out. And then he said, quote, on Monday, September 21st, that was just yesterday, by the way. Mm-hmm. I came to myself and found I was in a long building in Chattanooga, Tennessee, lying with hundreds of other wounded on the floor, almost as thick as hogs in a stock car. Some were talking, some were groaning. I raised myself to a sitting position, got my canteen, and wet my head. While doing it, I heard a couple of soldiers who were from my company.
No shit.
Yeah. They could not believe that it was me, as they said I was left for dead on the field and left at the left of Brock Cabin. You know, I mean, this is how they kind of have to orient themselves is where they're at. And so there was this place called Brock Cabin. They came over to where I was and we visited together. Then came in an order for all the wounded that could walk to start across the river on a pontoon bridge to a hospital to be treated and then be taken to Nashville. I told the boys that if they could help him, he says if they could lend me, but I mean is if they could help him walk, he said he thinks that he could walk the distance, that he could get there. Because of because of the heavy military convoys of wagon trains and troops crossing the river in retreat, the wounded men had to wait until sundown to cross over. Once across the river, they met up with a wagon teamster from Company K who got them some food, the first that Jacob Miller had eaten since the morning of his wound, however many days ago. I mean, this is September 21st, and what did I say? When did this start? September 19th. So, I mean, he has went nearly 3 full days without eating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's got a little water and a little medicine.
Right. They laid down on a pile of blankets under the wagon for the rest of the night, and the teamsters stayed awake all night to keep their wounds moist with water from a nearby spring, which that's very nice. On Tuesday morning, September 22nd, they awoke to the sound of a crackling campfire where a comrade had made coffee and some food for the wounded. Afterward, they had their wounds cleaned and dressed by a doctor. Then they got aboard a wagon heading to Bridgeport, where they would board a train for Nashville. The wagon ride was rough. Jacob Miller's head, for lack of a better word, hurt like a bitch, you guys.
Oh my God, yeah.
He and his comrades got out and walked the 60 miles in 4 days to the train station.
I just feel like the next time I'm hiking my little 10-mile hikes and I get a headache, I probably shouldn't say anything.
Nope.
My headache means nothing.
Just remember Jacob Miller, because
it
like definitely doesn't
miles
hurt.
With a bullet hole
15
miles
miles
a
day
eyes.
with a hole in his head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Suck it up.
And remember his eyes are so swollen shut. Like he's holding his eyeballs open still, y'all.
You've never seen me hike.
That's true. Is that
It's
typically
the
how
same
you
thing.
hike?
My arms.
Right.
Somebody help me up this mountain.
Along the way, Jacob Miller was able to open his right eye and could see to get around after the 4th day. He was able to.
Swelling's starting to dissipate.
Yep. They arrived at the train station and boarded a boxcar for the rest of their journey. They made it to the hospital at Nashville, where Jacob Miller recalls, I remember I was stripped and in a bathtub of warm water in a hospital in Nashville.
Oh, I bet that felt so good.
Oh, that is heaven right there.
He's like, okay, if I'm going to die now, it can be now that I've soaked in this nice
how about
warm
his
bath.
friends that found him? They're like, hey, Jacob, we thought you were dead. We totally left you there.
Dude,
He's
there
like,
was
hey, Dix, how about you give me a hand for this long hike?
No.
If you
well,
can
they
help
did,
it.
but the Confederacy was literally right behind them because remember when he came to, they were already past his line.
They were.
And clearly they were injured too since they ended up in the same infirmary.
True.
I don't know how they were injured.
No,
they were
I don't.
injured.
I don't either.
But can you imagine one of them complaining? Like, oh, what happened to you? Oh, rolled my ankle.
Right.
I don't think
Jacob's
that was
like,
probably
listen.
the case.
Fuck.
Right. Or
Pointing to
like
the hole in his head.
Look at me. Look at this.
I took
Shrapnel
some
in my
shrapnel in my arm. I don't know if I'll be able to, play the piano again. Jacob's like, I have a hole between my eyes.
Right. My eyes are swollen shut. So he remembers the warm tub of water in Nashville. And then he said, I don't know what date it was. In fact, I didn't pay much attention to dates from the Friday afternoon when I got in the boxcar at Bridgeport to start to Nashville. After some length of time, I was transferred to Louisville, Kentucky. From there to New Albany, Indiana. In all the hospitals I was in, I begged the surgeons to operate on my head, but all refused.
They weren't going to take that bullet out.
They were not.
Well, imagine at this point, medical professionals who are removed. This guy's alive. At this point, they're thinking, if I take this thing out,
yeah, what's going to happen?
He might die.
Yeah.
He's living somehow.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be succumbing to any type of infection. Sometimes you just got to leave it alone.
Yeah.
Well, don't make it worse.
The load of hot lead is probably holding shit together inside.
Potentially.
Keeping his brain from coming out the front of his face.
And there's just something to be said about the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't break it.
Yeah, they definitely didn't want to find out what would
Well, if it's
happen.
not
They
broke,
weren't
don't
willing
fix
to.
it.
Oh, I know what the saying is. My grandma switched it to, if it isn't broke, don't break it. Right?
Fair enough.
Because attempting to fix it will only potentially make it worse at this point. If there's nothing wrong, you have nothing happening cognitively at this point. The swelling's dissipating. You're still moving around. He's still thinking correctly. What good could it do to dig around in your head?
Imagine the lead exposure.
Well, that's not good.
They didn't know about that then.
Correct. No one's thinking in about 50 years, we're going to figure
You
out
might be poisoned later.
that you're being poisoned.
Right. This thing in your head, it is actually slowly poisoning
I mean,
you.
it
Yeah, like
wasn't-
30 years later, like, dude, that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right,
I
Like,
mean,
oh, you think?
at this point in time, they're still breaking open thermometers to play with the mercury because
Right.
it balls up in your hand
Right.
and it's fun to play with.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So Jacob Miller suffered for 9 months and then got a furlough home to Logansport.
You know what? I was a little worried you're going to tell me they sent him back. Like,
Well,
no,
they're
after
like,
9
put a
months, they were like,
Band-Aid on
okay,
it.
we'll give you a break.
Just wear your
You can
hat
go
all the
home."
time so no one sees it.
Yep.
yeah, something.
So at that point, when he goes home to Logansport, he goes and sees his local doctors, someone who knows him personally, Doctors Finch and Coleman, and asked them to operate on his wound. So they took out the musket ball, and after he recovered from his operation, he returned to the Army Hospital at Madison and stayed there until the end of his enlistment on September 17th, 1864.
Why did he stay at the hospital? Was he?
Well, I think he could get the benefits,
Okay.
the Army benefits or whatnot, even in 1860.
Did they have that?
I don't know
Yeah,
that
they
he required some type of care, perhaps at this
Right.
point that they
He wasn't
couldn't
going to
yeah.
get it
to him.
anywhere else.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
But
Or if he was obligated, be like, listen, you're alive, you're injured in battle, so you're going to have to come back and actually be here as part of your unit, even if you're in the hospital.
Your active duty.
Right.
Okay.
I imagine it was probably something along those lines.
No, that's fair. When my future son-in-law was active duty, but he was stationed in Germany, he had a major medical issue that happened, and he was in the hospital in Germany and stayed enlisted and went back until he had to be medically discharged at that point. But they weren't just letting him go.
Well, that's just
he
it.
stayed in a civilian hospital under those auspices with his unit.
But remember, he also can't go AWOL.
No,
like
for
they
sure.
put
Absolutely.
him on. They allowed him a furlough. He took the opportunity to have it operated on during his furlough, so he had to return back.
Right.
Yeah.
He had been suffering for those 9 months in an Army hospital with this musket ball
In his
head, with them refusing to operate. So he goes back until he was honorably, the end of his enlistment. He was honorably discharged then. At that point, Jacob Miller went home and resumed civilian life despite his still open wound. It is, when you see a picture, you guys, you'll understand, like, it never closes.
Couldn't you fill it with something? I don't know.
Like?
A wine cork.
But,
Like,
well,
you just
it is
kinda
big enough
cut it
for
off
one.
and just push it in there and put some cover up on that.
I do think that if it's all the way to the bone, to the skull, it's not necessarily just going to grow skin back over it. I mean, the inside's going to heal up and stuff, but it's going right to his skull.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's more here. He had lost the vision in his left eye, of course, which I think it's a miracle that he could see in his right eye, but it was closer. It's a little bit farther over to his left eye than his right one.
Damaged the optic nerve.
Yep. And 17 years after he was injured, a buckshot dropped out of the wound.
What?
Yeah.
There was still stuff in there?
There was, and your body will just start to reject foreign objects. And so it did. It just fell. Could you imagine just like looking down to read the paper one day and just a buckshot falls out of your open wound in your head?
You know, at this point, Jacob's like, well, ain't that a motherfucker?
Oh, right. Absolutely. It's like, son of a bitch.
No wonder I always have a headache.
Right.
Yep. 31 years later, 2 other pieces of lead come out of the wound. Yeah.
It's just the musket ball clearly it was not intact, and he's got pieces of metal.
Yeah, it must have probably broke and turned into shrapnel. Now he's got
Correct.
multiple chunks
that's working its way
Just
out
slowly
of his body.
His body is slowly working it out. Again, how did this man not die of infection?
I don't
apples
know.
and oranges. I can relate because I was in a car accident when I was 18, and like 3 years later, I had so much shards of glass in my head. I thought I had a pimple, and I pushed it out in a piece of glass.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I have heard of that.
too.
Yep, that happening. Did it bother you before then?
Oh yeah, I thought it was. Well, and the doctor said you might have some glass in there. I'm like, awesome. Just stitch right over that. Don't pull it out.
Oh, jeez.
And then literally, it was a couple of years later, and I was like, man, that's a big zit, and it like hurt. So I squeezed it, and a little piece of glass came out.
Ouch.
Holy shit! You're a medical marvel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'm no Jacob Miller.
that
Is anything else going to
You're
come
no
out?
Jacob Miller, but
Now
that
I'm
was
just
that was a
staring
badass
intently at your
story.
head.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Carry on.
No, that's okay. For 64 years, he lived with his open wound between his eyes that penetrated the skull 3/4 of an inch. It was large enough to place the end of his little finger in the wound, which caused him terrible pain and discomfort daily.
Of course.
During his post-war lifetime, he had bouts of side effects, such as he went into what was described as a stupor for 2 weeks, dizziness, delirium. He was like bedridden.
He had a brain injury.
He did. Like it was
TBI.
described as like he felt like he had a bad head cold, and the pressure in his brain would build up and cause intense pain in his skull.
Chronic migraines for the rest of his life.
Oh, I'm
because
sure.
of pressure inside your head.
Yep. The bouts of delirium would cause him to imagine that he was back on picket duty again, and he would tramp back and forth on his on the marching military beat.
Oh.
And he would he would actually like look for a musket on his shoulder, like he's going to draw it. Okay.
This is while he's in that hospital.
No,
Or
this is
after
for
he's
this is
released
years
from the
afterwards.
military.
Yep.
People are
Yep.
like, Uncle Jacob thinks he's marching again.
Yep. After the pieces of the bullet had fallen out of the open wound, he regained some normal health and continued living his life until the age of 87 years old.
Wow.
I'm probably not going to live to see 87, and I didn't get shot in the head.
No, I know.
This
He
is
joined.
amazing.
So unfair.
He joined when he was 23,
Yeah.
and I think this happened a year into his service, so he's about 24.
Lived with chronic pain his whole life.
Yeah, lived to 87.
Do we know
We
anything
already
about-
know he has a strong will to live, though. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
listen to what he's what he's went through.
I'm sure as he got older, some doctors like, oh, you have some. He's like, listen,
Yeah.
that's nothing.
Yes.
We're not going to talk about my feelings, sir.
Right.
That's not how this is working for Jacob.
How's your arthritis? I don't know what that is. I had a
Right.
bullet in my head.
I
Right,
have,
right. Yeah,
I have
exactly.
chronic headaches and a traumatic brain injury. Did Jacob ever, is there happiness? Did he ever get married or have children or grandchildren or people who love him?
So he was born, like he got to drive a car.
They didn't.
No, 18. This is the Civil War. Oh, you mean by the time he died?
By the time he died.
Oh,
like he was
I'm
born in
like-
like 1840.
Jason, they weren't quite. Yes.
So
Yes.
he died in like 1927.
He was 87 years old when because he was 23 in 81 when he joined 1881 when he joined.
Oh.
Yes, he
I had
lived.
the math wrong. So he's even older than that.
He lived
So-
into car realm territory, though. The Model T was out and about.
His obituary was actually published in the Longsport Tribune on January 14th, 1927. So he lived to 1927.
Yeah. Okay, my math was right the first time.
It was right, yeah. Because my grandma was born in 1933. I mean, she's clearly passed now, but 1933, 1934. So right in that era, yeah.
He's in one of his interviews. He said, "quote Some ask how it can be, or how best that I can describe so minutely my getting wounded and getting off the battlefield after so many years. My answer is, I have an everyday reminder of it in my wound and constant pain in my head, never free of it while not asleep. The whole scene is imprinted on my brain as with a steel engraving. I haven't written this to complain of anyone being in fault for my misfortune and suffering all these years. The government is good to me and gives me a $40 per month pension."
Aw.
End quote. So
Back
Good old
then,
USA.
that was probably a survivable wage then, guys.
his funeral services, this is straight from his obituary. Funeral services for Jacob Centershot Miller, age 87, a well-known Civil War veteran, were held at the Presbyterian Church in Braidwood, Illinois this afternoon. The Civil War veteran often visited in Logansport. His nickname is significant because of the bullet wound which he carried from the time of the war till his death. The wound was directly above the bridge of his nose and penetrated the skull. Of the 2,141 men who served, 353 died in the war. 11 officers and 129 enlisted men were killed in action or died of wounds, and 2 officers and 220 enlisted men died of disease. Private Miller considered himself one of the lucky ones who survived the war and lived a long life, the most remarkable American hero.
I think they mean the Battle of Chickamauga.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Just so because you
Yes.
were adding in
I was
your brain,
mathing,
there
I'm
was
like-
clearly more tragedy in the United
course.
States
I'm
Civil
like,
War than that.
mathically.
Nope. That battle.
In that battle. Yes. What an interesting story. Did you
Isn't
come
it?
across this or did someone suggest this to you?
This one was one that I came across a long time ago and just tucked it away. I always create these little folders for like work in progress. And I happened to check it the other day and was like, oh my gosh, I want to finish this research.
And just think, if he hadn't gotten shot in the head,
He might have died.
he probably would have died shortly from something else in battle.
Who knows?
Yeah, I think so.
But
Like
isn't
the
that
odds were high
Yeah.
of him not surviving that had he not been shot in the head.
that's a hell of a survival story. And a real survival story. He lasted a long time.
So to give you the happy ending that you were looking
Thank
for.
you.
Ooh,
Please.
what about mine? Sorry.
Different kind of happy ending. Jacob married Martha Adelia Holman Miller. We don't know the exact date, but it was either 1868 or 1870.
He must have been a hella nice guy. You're like 27 years old,
Walking around with that
trying to
hole in
pick
your
up a
head.
chick. Like, hey.
Yeah. But remember, he's got that pension from the army.
Right, that $40 a month?
Yes.
No, that was probably good stuff too.
In the 1800s,
Oh, yeah.
he feels that the
Those-
army
those-
treated him
I
well.
don't think people cared as much, perhaps, about that type of look. I mean, that's a war hero. That's a survivor. Like, he's going to get a little deference, I would hope.
Yeah.
I hope somebody bought that man drinks at the bar.
Oh, he should
gosh,
get free drinks wherever he goes.
I
For
agree.
sure.
I have a brain bath for us out of the New York Post. So you know it's going to be good.
Okay.
It's from June 2025. Kentucky, wow. I'm starting. Kentucky man known as Cowboy Cody released raccoon into packed restaurant in misguided revenge plot. So,
Don't do it, Jason.
no,
That
you
would entail me
cannot-
getting a raccoon, and we know I'm not
You
capable
should
of
not
that.
do that.
I mean,
Well, I
without
don't
a
know.
without a live trap, like I'm not going to wrangle one.
Some of the stories that you've told on this podcast suggest otherwise, my friend.
I've caught a lot of raccoons in live traps in my house.
Well, I have one, a trap. Let's get a live raccoon and do this. Tell
You
me what
didn't
happens
catch a
first.
cat.
Do not Cowboy Cody.
I did
Okay.
catch a cat.
A Kentucky man known as Cowboy Cody let loose a terrified raccoon in a bar out of revenge for being turned away from the establishment Friday night. According to police, the bartender who witnessed the incident. Would you like to see a picture of Cowboy Cody?
He's exactly what I wanted him
Yep.
to look like.
Absolutely is Cowboy
Full
Cody.
beard.
Police arrested Jonathan Mason, 40, on a slew of charges, including assault after he released a raccoon into the Big Apple Grill and Bar in the city of Murray.
You guys gonna cut me off? I'm gonna fuck up your night. I'm gonna get me a coon.
I'm gonna show you.
This was like this year.
Oh, it was June 10th of this year. It was the day before your birthday.
Oddly, he has the same beard that Jacob Miller has.
Yes, that is true. He really does.
He is missing the gunshot wound to the head.
Jacob wore it better, though. Apparently, he had trapped a raccoon earlier in the day on his farm and had been carrying it around with him, a restaurant bartender, Mary Hafner, told the Post. I'm a bartender, so I've seen some crazy stuff in my time, but nothing like this. Mr. Mason, dubbed Cowboy Cody by the locals, lives alone, you don't say, on a nearby farm and has caused trouble in the past at local bars, employees told the Post. Hafner, 37, who has worked at Big Apple for 5 years, said that Mr. Mason was already drinking when she encountered him Friday night.
Shocking, I'm shocked.
The bar had previously banned him over a drunken mule incident.
Was the mule drunk?
No.
Yes.
Or was he drunk on a mule?
He was drunk with a mule. He was not drunk from drinking the drink a mule, like a Moscow mule.
Right.
No, an actual animal.
I was really hoping the mule was drunk.
No.
So it's like, Jesus Christ, Cody, I can't hang out with you anymore, man.
Right.
You're driving me nuts. Somebody give me a whiskey.
Yeah.
Hafner, the bartender, said that Cowboy Cody, Mr. Mason, always liked her, and she thought that she could convince him to leave without causing a scene. She said, quote, I came out from around the bar and asked him nicely to leave. He said to me, oh, I see how it is. They sent a pretty face out here to distract me.
They always do.
They do. Initially, Mr. Mason complied with the complaint. At first, I was like, woo, I diffused a big issue, the bartender said. But moments later, he returned, armed with a raccoon. She said the raccoon waddled into the crowded restaurant as customers looked on in confusion. It was more scared than anything, she said. It was pretty upsetting for him. She must know what the raccoon feels like. Miss Hafner told fellow employees to let her handle the raccoon. I mean, she's a hero here. She is handling the drunk guy who has an affinity for her.
Hold on
and now she's handling the raccoon.
She's a bartender in a small town in Kentucky.
Yeah. This is
a Friday.
It's not her first animal encounter.
Like she said, she's seen some shit. So she's like, okay.
She's like, first a mule. This is just a raccoon, you guys. This is easy.
Right.
I got this.
She said another employee didn't listen and tried to snatch the furry fiend by his tail.
No.
It bit him.
Correct.
And he had to get rabies shots, as you do. That's why you don't grab a raccoon by its tail.
That's why you don't grab a raccoon.
First of all, you get oven mitts, like the big leather ones from the grill.
Like when you have to try to take your cat to the vet.
Yes.
A video shows the employee crawling on the floor chasing after the raccoon as he weaves his way through tables and chairs. The raccoon then bites the worker on his hand as the wild animal makes a shrieking growl. Of course. But bartender Hafner was able to lure the critter into a chair where she casually wraps him in a towel and heads for the exit. I'm no city slicker, she said. I'm a Kentucky girl. I had no problem chasing him.
Kentucky woman.
I don't know that song.
Neil Diamond.
Oh. Sorry,
youngin'.
Sorry. The worker who was, maybe I have heard it and I just didn't recognize
your
rendition.
That wasn't the best.
The worker who was bitten, of course, had to get the rabies shots, but she said that Cowboy Cody, this isn't his first animal-related crime. Last winter, he was arrested.
Bet it's not.
He was arrested twice for leading cops on a wild, drunken chase through the city streets on a mule. Big Apple employees had to call the police on Mr. Mason when he allegedly beat the animal with a whip in the parking lot. No, thank you, sir.
Can't just beat your ass in a parking lot.
No, you cannot just beat any part of your body or an animal's body in a parking lot.
Somebody should have grabbed that whip right from him. Take it to him. Son, you don't need to come with me.
Right.
Mr. Cowboy Cody led police on a drunken chase on the mule on the night of December 7th. Just 2014, and then did it again December 9th, according to the police. He refused to leave his car when officers pulled him over later that night after releasing the raccoon. He also wouldn't roll down his windows so that the officers could question him. Eventually,
because he was drunk.
Yes, cops placed him under arrest, and he was booked at the Callaway County Jail and is facing charges of third-degree criminal trespass, second-degree assault, resisting arrest, and failure to maintain insurance, because they're just going to tack it all on.
One person was cited him for drunk driving, though.
Right.
I think, I'm just going to throw it out there. I think alcohol was involved.
Probably.
Perhaps.
I mean, he was at the bar.
Involvement for him.
Cowboy Cody.
Wow.
First, a wild police chase, not one night, but two, on a mule. But then, 6 months later, releasing a raccoon.
In a bar.
In a bar that asked him to leave for being too drunk. I think it's possible that he could benefit from your court, Megan.
I think that sometimes people's names and pictures end up in bars for reasons. And he shouldn't be allowed to go back
Your
in the
name
Big
and
Apple
pictures on
bar.
a back hole bar in Kentucky.
Yes.
Like, you've done fucked up.
You done fucked up. You are
You
not
have.
allowed in.
You have. That's real bad.
That's right.
Guys, yeah. On a scale of Cowboy Cody to just a regular drunken disorderly, don't be Cowboy Cody.
I feel like I've seen these exact charges, almost similar fact patterns, and now I have a nickname. Right. Don't Cowboy Cody tonight, guys.
Do not Cowboy Cody.
I see that you have a raccoon in your live trap, and I see you putting it in the back of your trunk, and I know you have plans to go out drinking later. Please don't Cowboy Cody.
I also know that if I tell you not to drive drunk, that you might jump on your giant ass and try to ride your mule through the town. Also, don't do that. Can you imagine the police, though, that were chasing him on the mule?
He's on this mule
come
like
on.
Don Quixote. He's got this raccoon in a knapsack on his back.
I read another article about
You
him.
can't
and
get a drunk driving on a mule.
the locals were really upset about the mule. Like, Cowboy Cody doesn't take care of himself or his animals.
Clearly.
No.
So, because I saw another article about him where they were wanting to press charges, like people wanted
Animal
charges
cruelty.
to come, because of how skinny the mule was, and it's not being. I mean, I think we can all recognize
that Cody
that
should have
he's-
lost his ass.
Yeah. I mean, he's not taking care of himself or his animals. But anyway, yeah, there's that. So thank you all for hanging in today. Hope you enjoyed this little different twist today. So
I did.
We'll be back next week with a regular old crime story for you. Until next time, we hope that you keep it curious.
And keep listening.
Yeah, I never would have got that.
Yeah, it was not the same
It was not
note.
Not the same
I did
vibe
not hit
at
the
all.
note. All right.
Until next time.
Until next
Oh,
time.
we messed all of that up. I actually started it off wrong.
I was trying to do a tribute to the bartender. Sorry.
You did.
You did Miss Hefner real well.
Okay.
Right there. Kentucky
I think I would dig her.
woman. Probably. She ain't no city slicker.
No, she's
Probably
probably
not.
not the hottest girl in town.
Maybe.
Or
she is, and that's what. Remember, they sent out the pretty face to distract him.
Okay.
it's right.
Yeah. Maybe
Right.
she is.
All right.
Anyway,
Let's try
we
this
hope
again.
that you keep it curious.
And keep listening.
Till next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.